Namaste students. In the previous class, you have studied about the chromosomes and the cell division. Whenever a child is born, the family members usually start comparing the child's appearance as to whom he or she resembles more. All this, although a matter of chance, is governed by certain laws. In this chapter, we are studying about the fundamentals of genetics, including Mendel's law of inheritance. As well as we are studying about the sex-linked inheritance. In today's class, we are going to study about the Mendel's law of inheritance as well as the sex-linked inheritance. So before that, some terms will come in this chapter. So the terms are very important. In today's class, we are going to study about the important terms. First, we can study what is genetics. Genetics is the study of transmission of body features, both similarities and differences, from parents to offspring and the laws relating to such transmission. Genetics nothing but it is a study of transmission of body features from parents to offsprings, and some laws are related for that genetics, so that we are going to study. So that is called as a genetics. Gregor John Mendel, he is the father of genetics. Gregor John Mendel, father of genetics. Gregor John Mendel was born in a peasant family. He had his early education in a monastery, and later he studied science and mathematics at University of Vienna. He wanted to be a teacher, but luck did not favor him, and he failed in the examination of teaching certificate. But what he discovered later has made him a teacher of teachers. He had returned to his monastery and spent the rest of his life as an abbot. The monastery had a lovely garden which satisfied his urge to understand some secrets of nature regarding the inheritance of certain features in garden P. His findings are now called as Mendel's law of inheritance. This genetics, it has a modern application. So we are using this genetics concept in the genetic engineering. Genetic engineering is a technique in which the genetic constitution of an organism is altered by introducing new genes into its chromosomes. Example, the production of insulin hormone. So production of insulin hormone, so it is by the use of this GMO, means genetically modified organism. So from the bacteria, from that body, so we are getting this insulin hormone. So that is the genetic engineering. So another one is genetic counseling. This genetic engineering and genetic counseling, in this area, so we are applying the concept of genetics. Next, heredity. Heredity, it is the transmission of genetically based characteristics from parents to offspring. Heredity means it is the transmission of genetically based characteristics from parents to offsprings. So that is called as a heredity. Next, like begets like. Young ones look like their parents. So that is called a like begets like. For example, cats produce cats and not dogs. A mango seed germinates into a mango tree. Humans give birth only to humans, not the other organisms. So this is called as a like begets like. Young ones, it look like their parents. All organisms, whether animals, plants or microorganisms, produce their own kind through reproduction, but the offspring are never identical to their parents. Some differences, small it may be, is found in them. Here they produce their own young ones, but these young ones not identical to their parents. There are some differences we can observe. So that is like begets like. Next, variations in population. Small differences among individuals of a species are called variation. The small differences among individuals of a species are called variations. Human beings as a species share many main characters or traits among themselves, which identify the species Homo sapiens. Yet, the various races or tribes look different in several features. Even within the same race or tribe, the individual members in the population show differences. Further, the smallest unit of population is a family, and that too members show differences in body features. So that is called as a variations. In the same species also, there is a little bit differences we can observe. So that is called as a variation. Next, character. Any inheritable feature is called as a character. Any inheritable feature is called as a character. What is traits? The alternative forms of a character are called traits. The alternative forms of a character are called traits. So for example, so you can see hair shape. Hair shape is a character and its traits are curly or straight. The hair may be curly or hair may be straight. This curly and straight are the traits. The hair shape is the character. Next one. You can observe hand use. Using of our hands. Some they will use the right hand. Some they will use the left hand. So that is the hand use is the character. Using right hand and left hand is the trait. Next, lips. Lips is the character. Its traits are they may have thick lips or they may have thin lips. This thick and thin act as a trait, and lips are act as a character. So this is the character and traits. Next, chromosomes. We have already studied about the chromosomes. The chromosomes are only visible when a cell nucleus is about to divide. If a cell is not undergo the division, then the chromosomes are in a chromatin fiber or chromatin thread like structure. So when they undergo for the division, that time when the cell undergo the division, that time chromatin fibers it turns into chromosomes. Here, arranging the chromosomes according to their size and shape on a chart is called karyotype. Karyotype means arranging the chromosomes according to their shape and size on a chart is called as a karyotype. Individuals of a certain species have a constant number of chromosomes. So all the species having the constant number of chromosomes. For example, humans have a total 46 chromosomes. The human beings, we can see the 46 chromosomes. They are arranged in a pair, that is 23 pair. 23 pair chromosomes are there, means totally 46 chromosomes we can see. And different organisms having the different number of chromosomes. So that is the depending on species. Here, for example, onion, it has 16. The chromosome number is 16. And lion is 38. And cat 38. And gorilla 48. So like that, the different species of organisms having the different number of chromosomes. The chromosomes occur in even numbers because they always occur in pairs. Thus, in humans, 23 pairs of chromosomes are there. So, chromosomes always in a even number because they are present in a pair. Two chromosomes of each pair are similar in size, shape, and are derived as one each from two parents. That is called as homologous chromosomes. The chromosomes of each pair are similar in size and shape. The chromosomes are similar in size and shape, and one from each parent means one from parental father body, another from the maternal, that is a mother body. So you already studied, that is called as a homologous chromosomes. Homologous chromosome is a pair of corresponding chromosomes of the same size, shape, one from each parent. So that is called as a homologous chromosome. So in the diagram you can observe karyotype of human chromosome. Here the chromosomes are having same size and shape, one from each parent. So here we can see all the 23 pair of chromosome in the chart. They are visible only during the cell division. So they have given the number. Totally we can see the 23 pair of chromosomes. Next, main categories of chromosomes. The chromosome pairs numbered 1 to 22nd has identical chromosomes are categorized as autosomes. Here in the human being, the chromosome pair number first pair to 22nd pair, all the chromosomes are identical to each other. So that chromosomes are called as autosomes. The pair number first pair to 22nd pair are called autosomes because they are identical chromosomes. But 23rd pair, the last one pair, that is 23rd pair, is different, and its chromosomes are called sex chromosomes or allosomes. The 23rd pair, the last pair, that is called as sex chromosomes. In the karyotype diagram you have observed, the last pair, that 23rd pair, is called as a sex chromosomes. They are dissimilar in male and female. The 23rd chromosome is dissimilar in male as well as in the female. In male, the 23rd pair has X and Y chromosomes. In the male, 23rd pair has X and Y chromosomes. In female, it has two X chromosomes. In female, the 23rd pair has two X chromosomes. Once again, you can observe the diagram of karyotype. You can observe the last, that is 23rd pair of chromosome. In male, we can observe X and Y chromosome, and in female, you can observe two X chromosome. In the male, the X chromosome is larger than the Y chromosome. Especially in the male, you can observe the Y chromosome is smaller and X chromosome is larger. That is especially in the male. Next, sex determination. The sex of the child depends upon the kind of sperm that fertilizes the egg. The sex of the child depends upon the kind of the sperm that fertilizes the egg, because the sperms having either X chromosome or Y chromosome. In male, half of the sperms bearing X chromosome and half bearing Y chromosomes. Here in the male, the half of the sperm bearing X chromosome and half of the sperm bearing Y chromosomes. In the female, here we can see the or X chromosome only. There is no Y chromosome or X chromosome. If the egg containing always containing the X chromosome, if the egg is fused by X bearing sperm, if the egg is fused by X bearing sperm, the resulting combination is XX. 2X we can observe. if there is a 2x is there, the child produced is a female, that is called as a daughter. So you know, in the female 2x chromosomes are there, in the male x and y chromosome. Suppose if the egg is fused by the X bearing sperm, then in the child we can observe 2x chromosome, so it gives rise to a daughter. If the egg is fused by Y bearing sperm, the resulting combination is XY. The child produced is male, or it is called a son. If the egg is fused by Y bearing sperm, then in the child we can observe XY chromosome, the XY indicating the male, so the child is son or male. This is the sex determination. In the diagram you can observe the egg is fused with the X bearing sperm, then it gives rise to a 2x in the zygote, that gives rise to a daughter. If the X is fused by Y bearing sperm, then in the zygote we can see the XY, so it later gives rise to a son. So this is the sex determination. Now you have to understand some of the basic terms. First one is genes. The specific part, that is a DNA segment of a chromosome which determine the heredity characteristics, is called genes. Genes are nothing but they are the specific parts of a chromosome, means a small DNA segments which determine the hereditary characteristics, that is called as a genes. Next, genome. The full complement of DNA including all genes and the intergenic regions of an organism. The full complement of DNA of an organism is called as a genome. Next, alleles. Alternative forms of a gene occupying the same position, it is called as locus, on homologous chromosomes and affecting the same characteristic but in different ways, is called as alleles. Alleles are nothing but is the alternative forms of a genes. Here the same characters but they are expressing in different ways, that is called as a genes, that is called as a alleles. Alleles are nothing but alternative forms of a genes. Out of the two alleles of a gene, one is dominant or super ruling, or it is called as expressed. Here out of the two alleles, one of a gene, out of the two alleles of a gene, one is dominant, and it is also called as super ruling, or it is called as expressed, and it is represented by a capital letters. Dominant means it expressing its character, it is always we are writing in a capital letter. Other is recessive. Another alleles of a gene is recessive, or it is called as suppressive. It is not expressing and it is represented by small letter. So in the example you can observe, I have taken the shape of the seed. Shape of the seed is a character. Its traits are round seed and wrinkled seed. Shape of the seed is the character. Its trait are round seed or wrinkled seed. Here round seed, it is a dominant one. So that's why we are writing in a capital R. And the recessive seed, that is the wrinkled seed, is the recessive. So it is writing in a small r. So which is the dominant, we are writing in a capital, and which is the recessive, we are writing in a small r. This dominant and recessive, it is given by the Mendel's. He already did the experiment on garden pea plant. So on the basis of that, he given this dominant and recessive. Depending on the alleles acquired by the plant, its seed shape could be round seed. If the when the round seed is dominant over the recessive seed, when the round seed and wrinkled seed when crossed each other, we can get the round seed. At that time, we are writing capital R. That is a round seed. It is a dominant one. And round seed, we can write in a capital R, small r also. And wrinkled seed, when small r is present. Here see, if the capital R, capital R, both are capital R, then it is called a round seed because round is a dominant here. So it is a round seed. If suppose capital R, small r is present here, which is the capital one, so it is a expressing. So here capital R is the dominant. Capital R means round seed. Small r is there. When the capital R, small r is there, the capital R is expressing the character because capital R is a dominant. Small r is not expressing the character. So that's why it is once again a round seed. When small r is expressing, so when the both the genes are smaller, when the both are smaller, then we can write wrinkled seed. So round seed, if the both are capital R, then it is a round seed. If capital R, small r is there, then it is also a round seed because round seed is the capital R is the dominant, capital R nothing but is a round seed. That's why again round seed. If the both are smaller is there, then it is called as a wrinkled seed. So it is a dominant and recessive. You will understand this one by giving the one of the example. So I will discuss it again in the next class. Next, homozygous dominant. All is homozygous. Here, homo means similar. The homo means similar. Zygous means pair. Homozygous dominant means if the both are capital R, then it is called as homozygous dominant because both are same letters. That is capital R. So it is a similar letter, that is a homozygous. Why it is dominant? Because both are capital. That is the dominant. It is a homozygous dominant. For example, capital R. Heterozygous dominant. Hetero means different. Here capital R, small r is there, but both the letters are not same. One is the capital R and the small r. So it is a different letter. So it is a heterozygous. Again it is dominant because capital R is there. Capital R indicates is a dominant character. So that's why heterozygous dominant. If the small r is there, again it is a homozygous because both are similar letter, smaller. It is a recessive. It is a homozygous recessive because small r is a recessive character. It is not a dominant. Capital R is a dominant, but the small r is a recessive. So it is a homozygous recessive. So this is the homozygous and heterozygous, dominant and recessive. Next, genotype. The set of genes present in the cells of an organism is called genotype. Genotype nothing but it is the set of genes present in the cells of an organism is called genotype. For example, in the above example you can observe capital R, small r, these are the genotype. It is the set of genes present in the cell of an organism. That is a genotype. In simple word, for remembering purpose I am telling what are the English letters we are writing, that are the genotype. Okay. Next, phenotype. The observable characteristics which are genetically controlled. The observable characteristics which are genetically controlled, that is called phenotype. For example, capital R is there. Capital R is the genotype. And what it indicates? Capital R indicates homozygous round seed. So homozygous round seed, it is a phenotype because round seed we can observe. So that is called as a phenotype. Capital R, small r is the genotype. What it expressing? It expressing the heterozygous round seed. So this heterozygous round seed is the phenotype. Small r is the genotype. So what it is expressing? Small r expressing the homozygous wrinkled seed. So wrinkled seed we can observe. Yes, no? Round seed also we can observe. Wrinkled seed also we can observe. So this is the phenotype. Observable characteristics which are genetically controlled are called as a phenotype. Please don't confuse the genotype and phenotype. This is very important. So today's class we have studied about the sex determination and some of the basic terms you have studied. That basic terms are very important. You have to remember that terms because the terms will comes to the next also. So the terms are very important. And this phenotype and genotype are also very important. And in the textbook many examples they have given. So you have to go through the examples. You will come to know, if you read twice you will come to know. So many examples are there in the textbook. Please you have to go through the examples and you will clearly understand first phenotype and genotype.